welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And today I have been dealing with just an overload of anxiety, and I'm not quite sure why. But I have had like the irregular heartbeat, where your heart's like racing and it feels like it's like skipping a beat, like a panic attack. And I'm all too familiar with panic attacks. And I've been feeling it all day long. Since I woke up this morning, I keep like taking deep breaths, like reminding myself that if I just stay calm, it will dissipate, go away, but it's still doing it. And I'm not quite sure why. I started thinking, I wonder if it's AFib, but it just feels like anxiety. It feels like the panic attack feeling that I've had for so many years in my life. And I don't know quite why it has set in as bad as it has today. But I'm just like, I don't know, moving forward with it. If it is the panic attack stuff, then what is it that I'm freaking out about? Is it because I'm in this new house, and I'm not feeling at home? I mean, I feel like I feel at home, but what is causing it? I did look up new doctors today. So I'm going to have to start seeing a new family doctor and a new psychiatrist and a new dentist. So my husband thought maybe that was what was causing it, that I'm thinking of like, it's almost like PTSD from seeing all these doctors and like, oh, what are they going to be like? What are they going to say? Really, it's all for maintenance and documentation for my disability insurance, but because nothing's changed health-wise for me since I was seeing all the other doctors, but it might be that, and we'll see. So I'm trying to focus on self-care. I did take a nap today. I've been trying to take a nap every day. I took off from the podcast this past weekend, and yeah, so I'm doing what I can, but coincidentally, after I had already been feeling that anxiety this morning, when I joined my morning meeting, the story that we read was called The Man Who Mastered Fear. And I thought that that was coincidental, since that's what I'm kind of dealing with here is this fear of I don't know what though. And that's just kind of the way. I think that for so long I lived in this state of fear. And if somebody were to ask me, like, what are you upset about? What are you afraid of? I wouldn't have been able to tell you. And the feeling was, when I have fear, I got to get rid of it. I got to get rid of it. Whatever I do, I just have to get rid of it. And that's what I've been kind of feeling today, is that whatever this is coming from, I have no idea, but I got to get rid of this feeling. Um, and maybe the answer is not that I need to get rid of it, but I need to talk through it, walk through it. So I thought I'd talk about it today and see where we end up. That's what I always say. Let's just dive in and see where I end up. So it has helped me to reflect a little bit today on how fear has controlled my life for so long. How I was always looking for immediate gratification or relief from the fear through alcohol, running from that discomfort and pain and uncertainty. And I certainly have been diving deep into the trenches of uncertainty over the past few years. And maybe just having a move at this time in my life is a lot. And I need to acknowledge that. Um, I can say that through my recovery, as I continue to go through the years, my relationship with fear has changed. And what I feel is the case now is that I'm not, I'm not, my instinct is not to avoid the thing that is freaking me out, if I even know what it is. Right now, I'm not quite sure what it is. But the thing is to like lean into it now, is to dive right in head first. So if it is the doctors and making appointments with them that is freaking me out, then that is the first thing I need to do tomorrow morning when I wake up. I did avoid it today. I did feel like, oh, I can't handle that right now. But maybe that's the thing that's stuck in my craw, that I need to go ahead and make the doctor's appointments. Even just calling a new doctor office is it's a stressful thing, you know. Um, I can't tell you how many of these doctors I've called, and just just talking to the person at at the front desk is so stressful. And they are really the face of the entire doctor's office. So no matter what, like I went online and I found a vascular neurologist as opposed to a general neurologist. So I found one, and that's the one I'm going to call. But if I call and the conversation with the receptionist person is a disaster, then that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning of the nightmare that is dealing with new doctor's offices. So I'm what ifing a little bit. Um, in this story this morning, it talked about something that I thought was interesting. Um, he talked about going for, okay, this is what I heard. I always say that. I don't know what the story was about, but this is what I heard. So he was talking about like going for a walk, and I'm just gonna give myself a little manicure while we're sitting here. But I can't find the tool that I was looking for. Okay. Um, he was talking about like going for a walk at home, and how he referenced the shortcut home, and it made me think about, at the last house that I was living in, there was so we lived on this block, and I would walk Autumn every day around the block. And specifically after I had my stroke, we did a lot of walking around the block, as opposed to before I had my stroke. I used to walk her a couple miles every time I took her out, because she's a Weimaraner and she needed that kind of exercise. So I would walk her around the block, and when we get halfway around the block, I don't know if this makes sense, but we leave from my house and go halfway around the block, and I'm back at the other side of my house. And then I can either take the shortcut home, or I can walk the rest of the way around the block, and I end up on the side of the house that I started. So more often than not, because of my stroke symptoms, I would stop at the shortcut and I would just take the shortcut home. And what I was thinking about this morning was in this new neighborhood, once I leave the house, there is no shortcut home. If I decide that I'm going to start walking around the block, I have to go the whole way or I need to turn around and go back. There is no shortcut home. And I thought about how much that, how much that, reflects my experience with pain and fear. That it's kind of symbolic that there is no shortcut through the emotional processing of fear and anxiety. Like, I can't rush whatever it is that I'm feeling today. I have to let it happen. As opposed to, in contrast, what I used to do, which is drink alcohol, maybe pretend like I don't feel what I feel, or avoid facing it. Like, don't talk about it. I may not be pretending that I don't feel it, but I'm not going to talk about it and be honest. And today, if I'm going to keep this level of spiritual fitness and mental wellness, emotional wellness, I have to take the long way around. Like, the growth happens when I take the long path, when I sit through my feelings, when I talk about my feelings, when I surrender, when I take a deep breath, and some days, like today is the perfect example. I have been taking deep breaths all day and I feel no different this afternoon or this evening. It's about 8 o'clock at night now. I feel no different this evening than I did when I woke up this morning. I feel like I have not processed anything, but that's not true. And, and I was reminded of that this morning when somebody reached out to me on the side in one of my morning meetings and said that she was just about to the point of picking up the phone and calling people. And I said, that's great news. Sometimes the growth that's happening inside us, we don't see. We're changing and we're growing even when we don't see it. And so I believe that today, whatever is happening inside of me is happening because of something. It's not because there's something wrong with me, which is another thing I used to think, like, oh, I just have anxiety problems. It's just something that I deal with. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my character, my brain. Like, I can't get over things. I obsess about things. It was always like beating myself up, and I don't have to do that, I don't have to run away. I can, and I don't actually have to run towards the fear, but I can walk through it. I can face it. I can get vulnerable, walk into a situation that feels uncertain, but it's necessary. And when I can do that and then talk about what that feels like, what it looks like to other people is courage. It does not feel like courage at all. Um, it it looks like courage for me after it's done, but fear, this anxiety used to be a signal for me to stop, crawl under the covers, and grab something that's going to make me feel better. And it used to be alcohol. And today, that's not what it's a signal for me to do. It's a signal for me to take care of myself. And that's the opposite of what I used to do. Like it's an invitation to grow. It doesn't feel like it. I'm not saying that this anxiety that I'm feeling is like, I'm excited, I'm about to grow, I'm about to learn something. That's not what it feels like. But it is a signal to me that I need to get my toolbox out, like my recovery program toolbox out. I need to hand it over. I need to take whatever it is and just keep handing it over. And sometimes that looks like every minute. Sometimes that's every breath. And that's what I've been doing. I just take a deep breath and then I let it go, meaning I let it go, I hand it over. Um, that that surrender, that constant action of surrender is me moving forward without knowing the outcome. Um, and I did happen to call my sponsor today. We had a phone date. So I was able to talk to her, and that's the opposite also of what I want to do when I feel like this. I do not want to talk because already when I'm having this type of anxiety, and this is great that I can talk through this when I'm actually feeling it, when I'm actually having the heart palpitations, because it also makes me feel like, and maybe you can relate to this, it makes me feel like I can't breathe regularly. Like I'm short of breath because my body's just not regulating. It's like in fight or flight mode all day long. And so today, after like I already had a phone date scheduled with my sponsor, so I wasn't going to back out of it. I'm not allowed to do that in recovery. I have to meet my obligations. And so I got on the phone with her, and I got to practice receiving help gracefully. I got to help. We didn't talk about my anxiety. We were talking about step 4 stuff. And but I got to hear guidance and love and support and not try to resist it. And during that time that I was on the phone with her, now that I'm thinking in retrospect, I think my anxiety was better during that time when I was on the phone. Um, my sponsor is included in that power greater than myself, she didn't make the fears go away, but she did, just by talking to me, assure me that she is walking beside me through my fears. One of my favorite lines that I say often is that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the ability to do the next right thing despite it. So taking the long way home, taking the long way through processing fear and anxiety means that I have to feel it. And as I'm thinking about how this has come about, the previous 2 days, over the weekend and on Friday even, I've been feeling this need to cry, and I didn't know why I was feeling that way also. So there's something going on. I'm definitely overloaded, in in some way, like I guess in every way, physically, emotionally, mentally. I think moving is a stressful event in my life, even though I'm happy to be here. If I sit and like reflect on what's happened over the past couple weeks, like you guys have been with me. I have been rarely getting on, in my opinion, to do my podcast because I have been so overloaded, mentally and emotionally. And being in that Airbnb by myself for a week and a half was really difficult for me. And even though like I talked through it and I got through it and I felt like I grew and I learned a lot about myself while I was there. I really did. I'm so freaking grateful to not be there anymore. Even though it was beautiful, it just was not comfortable there. And so now I'm in this new strange place. Even though it feels very homey, all my stuff is here, it's still another strange place for me. So I need to like go through the feelings and the reflecting and surrendering repeatedly until that peace of mind, I think, and the serenity will replace this feeling of panic that I'm feeling. Um, my husband mentioned today, now's a good time to start looking into the clubs and the church and the things that I want to start getting involved in. And I think that, and that was before I mentioned anything about the anxiety today. I think he also is well aware. Nobody knows me better than him. He actually knows me better than I know me, that it's time for me to get engaged with people, and I'm looking forward to that. I did see this morning that, and I don't know why I didn't see this until now, but the neighborhood actually offers virtual AA meetings every day here, throughout the day. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try tomorrow. Um, I'm going to continue to take the long way. That's where the strength is. I need to remain humble and I need to trust that I'm developing strength. I'm developing character when I take the long way around through these difficult emotions, whatever is causing them. Um, so I think that by processing the fear, I'm gaining a a sort of wisdom for the future. And if I avoid the fear, then it becomes a weight that just sits on my shoulders. So the first step is talking about it, is turning around and looking at it and being like, yep, that it's real, whatever it is. I don't know why it's there, but it's not going to go away unless I look at it. And I don't have to make it go away before I move forward. Like I can move forward with it. And as I move forward with it, it begins to lose its grip on me. So I'm going to make sure that I express gratitude today, this evening before I go to bed, for the tools of recovery that's made it possible to walk the long road through recovery. Whether it is my sobriety, my stroke recovery, my vestibular recovery, and all of the bits in between, the anxiety and depression bits in between. I don't have to find a shortcut today. I don't have to run and get something that's going to make it go away. Like I have the courage and the strength and the tools to walk the whole way around. And I think that first and foremost, I also should remember that I'm not doing it alone. Um, that I've also got my higher power. And so now it's just before bed. And what's interesting is I keep forgetting to get on my knees before I go to bed and say my prayers. You all know that that's my routine, but ever since I've been in the Airbnb, I haven't been doing that. So here in this house, I have been forgetting also. So I get into bed. I also forget my splint. So I don't know if I've mentioned that before. I have severe TMJ. I think I did mention that. So I have to wear a splint every night. And sorry, I get to wear a splint every night. No. But I've been forgetting to put that in my mouth too. So everything's totally off kilter, you know? So give myself some grace. And I'm gonna say my prayers before I go to bed. And tomorrow's always a whole new day. So thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you tomorrow.